Oh my God, I almost did my thing that I do on my morning show where I go do 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 do. Okay. Hello everyone. Happy Easter. I hope that you had the opportunity to really enjoy some time with your family. Um, he is risen, all of the good religious things that we're supposed to say on this holy day. And I think the Holy Week is just starting for the Catholics or something. I'm not really sure how all that works, but I love you guys. Hope you enjoyed your time with your family. We did an Easter egg hunt for my kids, and all the raccoons got into the eggs, so there was no candy in the eggs when we went to hunt this morning.
They found them all?
Not all of them. The ones that were like up on top of the vehicle, they were not gotten into. But there was even one that was cracked open. I had put some cash in it, and they had cracked that one open, disappointed that there was no candy, and just left the cash there.
Oh, those little raccoon hands are perfect for prying open plastic Easter eggs too.
I know. I really wish that I will probably purchase one, but I wish there was like a trail cam in my driveway so like I could have monitored this, because I'm talking like 48 eggs were hidden, maybe 10 still had candy in them. So they were having a field day out there.
Bastards. Might be time to hunt these things.
Finnegan was so disappointed when he went out there. He's like, they ate all my candy.
Yep. Mom.
So the Easter Bunny learned to hide the eggs really early in the morning, not at night anymore. So guys, we kind of trade off a little bit on the monologues, and this week is my week. And I was really struggling over the course of the week to decide on what I really wanted to talk about and what's really bothering me right now. And so I took the opportunity to watch Matt Walsh's What is a Woman a while back. And I was absolutely depressed after watching it for a multitude of reasons. So this is going to be somewhat of a stream of consciousness and just thoughts that I'm having about that subject. So forgive me if it's disjointed. Most of you that have been following me for any period of time know that I go really hard in the paint with the repeal the 19th language. And most of that is tongue in cheek. Oh, Chris is with us. I'm going to go ahead and add him to the stream. Most of that is tongue in cheek, but I 100% think that allowing women into the arena of politics has changed the trajectory of the country. And I'm not entirely sure it's for the better at this point. When I say that I'm a bona fide misogynist, it's because by today's definition of the word, I am. In spite of that, I love being a woman. First, I think it's important for me to proffer what I believe being a woman means. Apart from being a human being that is female, that's the only way that you are, in fact, a woman. The first thing I love about being a woman, and that I think is part of that, is being a loving and nurturing human being. Not just for my children, but for a significant other and the people that I interact with on a daily basis. Excuse me. A woman is also a vessel for life. Whether you choose to bring life into this world or not, the one and only core function of a woman is to fornicate, conceive, carry, and give birth to children to ensure the survival of the species. That in and of itself makes women one of the most powerful creatures on planet Earth. A woman, to me, should be in service to her partner. And leaving religion out of this and trying to focus solely on gender roles, a man's job is to lead the home. His job is to guide the family to its highest potential in all things. He does this from a logical and often unemotional position because men are linear thinkers. I'm presented with option X and option Y. I choose option X because I believe our greatest chance of success comes with that option. Women are emotional bowls of spaghetti, and we're still sitting here wondering how the neighbor's dog is going to feel about option Y and whether or not Veronica down the street will want to bring her children over for the event, or if we should just not invite her to this one altogether so she doesn't have to worry about getting a babysitter. Both of those approaches are productive to the dynamic, but it does not work if one is trying to play the role of the other or expecting the other to play their own role. While men are doing the job they are designed to do, it's vitally important that women do what they were designed to do. Nesting is a real component in nature. A woman's role is to create a home where the family feels secure, comfortable, and in control. If you've ever had children, this aspect of your DNA kicks into overdrive in the third semester of carrying your baby. If your daughter invited every one of her friends from school over for your 4th of July party that you did not know you were having on the day of, that inherent desire to clean every inch of your house before another human sees it is wired into your DNA. All too often, however, women's expectations of men to cross into their realm and further expectation for him to want to cross into that realm creates unnecessary friction. Well, if you would just do the dishes every now and again, would it kill you to do some laundry? What is happening is that you're feminizing and domesticating men. You're asking them to take on roles that they are not hardwired to do. You're asking them to literally be the opposite of what they are and do menial tasks in addition to what they are supposed to be doing, which is providing and protecting. Don't worry, ladies. I'm not bashing you. Here comes your shining moment. The same can be said in reverse. If a man is not fulfilling his role as the provider in the relationship or household, that expectation of women crossing into that realm also creates unnecessary friction. Well, maybe you should get a second job so I don't have to work. I know this will make all of the boss babes of the world angry at me, and that's okay. I support them pursuing their goals and dreams. I'm merely stating that I am of the opinion that they are not biologically hardwired to be providers. If the dynamic in your relationship is reversed and it's working for you, that's awesome. I'm super happy for you. There are anomalies for sure. And I'm not stupid enough to think or suggest that only this way will work. But anything different is genetically going against the grain, so to speak. The friction that I'm talking about is competition. Women are being conditioned to believe that they need to compete with men. They need to be men. That anything you can do, I can do better. I can do anything better than you statement is patently false, and I'm tired of pretending that it isn't. There are things that women do better than men and that men do better than women because they are different. The societal and cultural push to mix and switch gender roles has, in my opinion, failed miserably. Dependence on government indoctrination education is at an all-time high. The nuclear family and its functionality has been nearly destroyed by design. I'm tired of being told that I need to be more like a man to be a good woman. Likewise, I am really fucking tired of being told that the only societally worthy women are, in fact, men. The best female athletes? Men. The best brand ambassadors for Nike Sports Bra? Men. The best brand ambassadors for Sephora and Ulta Makeup? Men. The best ambassador for Kate Spade's spring dress collection? Men. The best person to talk to you about tampons and which one you should stick up your vagina? Men.
Obviously.
I am a strong, independent woman. I can handle my own in a boardroom full of executives, spend an entire day throwing hay bales, hunt my own food, and I can change a tire or the oil in my car. But I don't want to do any of those things. And I think selling the lie that women should want to do those things or they're less of a woman has gone on long enough. If that is the life that you want and you choose for yourself, so be it. But don't tell me that I'm not a great example of a woman if I want to keep a clean home, have dinner on the table every night, and raise the future of the world instead of handing it off to someone else to do it. The most frustrating part of the global effort to reducing and erasing women is it's being ushered in by women. They're making baby pods. They're giving men all of your spaces in every aspect, and you're encouraging it. One day, you will stand there as your daughters have nowhere to make a path for themselves and try to blame it on everyone but yourself, but it will be no one's fault but your own. There's my soapbox for the day.
Bringing it, Heather. I love it.
What's up, MB? Thank you for joining us this evening. I apologize for the long rant, but I've just been, God, man, I've been really upset about this.
As a father of a daughter, this assault on women from all sides is really, really infuriating.
Yes.
To see it being cheered on by women blows my mind. I think every girl, every woman, and at least every man with a daughter should be just as vocal as these girls who are being displaced from swimming competitions and everything. Like this is a fundamental problem. This is something we will pay dearly for down the road.
Well, I mean, okay. So we talk about like the breakdown of the nuclear family all the time, right? From a socialism and a communism perspective. What makes this movement to me more egregious is it's that next step, right? Because you're taking the next generation, the people who would be producing the following generation, and you're encouraging them to take hormone blockers, puberty blockers, cut their tits off, cut their genitals off. You're literally castrating and making it impossible for the next generation to produce the following generation. And that in and of itself is a massive breakdown in society for the nuclear family. Can't have a family if you can't make a family.
Exactly.
I've
been reading about these the mouse utopia experiments that they did back in the 60s.
Tell me more about that.
They gave these mice everything they needed for an ideal environment, to all the food and shelter and water and everything they needed to have an optimal life. And for a while they thrived, but I mean, he did this experiment a bunch of times, and every time it declined into utter madness. And one of the last things that happened was these males, who he referred to as the beautiful mice. They're males who don't really carry out any of the protective roles or anything like that. They just sort of off to the side, very non-confrontational, and it completely crumbled. It's a disaster every time.
Wow.
I can't remember how many times they did it.
I'm gonna have to go research this because that sounds pretty interesting. So the other thing that kind of just really fired me up about this is the little girl, the swimmer that went to speak and was literally assaulted, like physically assaulted, and had to hide in a classroom. Riley Gaines, yeah. And the announcement came on the back end that was a peaceful protest, that those individuals peacefully were protesting. And it's like, can we define peaceful? Is that another one of those words in the dictionary that you guys have changed?
Yelling, if that bitch didn't want the smoke, she shouldn't have came here, demanding $10 each, right, or she's not going to go home.
Extortion? What the fuck? Yo, can we just start ripping these motherfuckers' heads off?
Yeah, I mean, like
when does that start? So is this on a college campus? I mean, that's tough to go on, right?
San Francisco University. Here's what the vice president issued, the statement that he issued to the students. Thank you to our students who participated peacefully in Thursday evening's event. It took tremendous bravery to stand in a challenging space. I am proud of the moments where we listened and asked insightful questions. I am also proud of the moments when our students demonstrated the value of free speech and the right to protest peacefully. That must have been when they were chasing her down the hallway, screaming obscenities in her face.
Right, right.
These issues do not go away, and these values are very much at our core. And then it goes on about how this is a difficult time, and we're offering grief counseling and so forth. Equity and community inclusion, counseling and psychological services. The well-being of the San Francisco State campus and community remains our priority. Jambalaya Moore. Jambalaya?
Jambalaya?
What even is that?
Minus the P. Oh man. Okay,
So good job
Chris,
is the message from the school.
To your question, like when do we start like knocking heads off? When do we start
When
like
does this come to a head?
when does this escalate? And I say this all the time, like the weakest minds have the loudest voices. They can stand in the hallways, they can scream at the top of their lungs, they can pretend that I always talk about righteousness, right? Like people speak and act from a position of feeling that their cause is righteous. And even if it isn't, I think back to like 1920s to prohibition. They thought that their cause was righteous in removing the ability for other people to have alcohol. And what happened? What happened when prohibition happened? Did they get rid of alcohol?
No.
No. I would say they probably used more alcohol at that point. They're like, "Oh, you're going to tell me I can't drink? Fuck you. I'm going to go drink."
Well, that's when capitalism really kicks in. You can make as
That's
much
when the
money as
Appalachian
possible.
Mountains met capitalism.
There's no regulations on an illegal market,
Right.
Just get after it.
So, like, they're getting bold, right? Like they physically assaulted this girl as she was there just speaking at a conference. And I don't think that they understand that 1% of 1% is not a big portion. And you can keep screaming, but the minute you start getting violent with us, I feel like that's going to create some issues.
So let me say this, Heather.
If we're lining up, I mean, you're going to be standing there at kickoff pretty freaked out that the other team is 1,000 times larger than you.
Sure.
So, number one, this doesn't happen between the Rockies and the Appalachians in the middle there. It doesn't really happen here.
Mm-mm.
It's starting to a little bit in the Capitol buildings, but you don't, this is coast stuff.
Right.
And the coast have robbed everybody of their guns. So there's no fear of, of action. And also a little bit kind of how I feel about it. This younger generation is no different than my generation, except they're dumber, more ignorant. And I mean that as in their IQ points are severely dropping for kids 18 to 24.
Right.
So if you can't have conversation because nobody's taught you, then you can't have debate. If you can't have debate, we can't have discourse. So if we go all the way back to like Neanderthal, it's ooh.
Yeah.
Well, here, that's where we're at. And I don't mean to, I'm not saying they're Neanderthal, and don't get me wrong, but if you can't critically think and have a debate and shake hands, then there's name calling. And when that doesn't work, there's screaming.
Right.
And when that ceases to work, then we're at the Boston Massacre. And that's just the facts, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not putting on a goddamn tinfoil hat. The escalation is very in front of us.
Right.
So we're about to start seeing that. Or maybe not, but I don't know if you guys, maybe you guys don't agree, but I don't, where do they go? Where do they go after screaming? What's next? What you guys tell me.
I mean, I'm scared. I'm pretty worried about the fact that a school shooting, all it resulted in was a conversation about taking guns away. So the message is that's not you know what I mean? If you do this,
so not
the conversation is going to be guns.
So I'm not worried. So there was a mass shooter. That happens. I'm talking about, let's talk about the masses. All right. Their IQ is lower than that of us, right? As the masses, that's proven. That's science. So what happens after screaming? What do they do when they don't get their way? Heather and Eric, do you guys know?
Well, I think that they do get their way
tail
right
on the donkey?
Right.
Sorry.
So
can you pin the tail on the donkey? So let me say this. When they started canceling people, they got their way, didn't they?
Yeah.
That was name calling.
Yeah.
Hang on. That was name calling. They got their way. Now it's 2023 and people are done with that. So we said, we don't give a fuck if you call us names. Okay, so now they scream. Now, can we pin the tail into donkey? What's next?
Yeah. Well, I think we're seeing what's next.
Can anybody say it? Or
4 of the last.
Well, that's when the child starts hitting.
Yeah.
Eric. Fucking 100 points to Eric. He nailed it. It's violence.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say. We're there. This is the escalation.
Yeah. If you take the kid's toy and you won't give it back and he screams,
but it's like
you still don't give it back.
Even you had, are you like, you look like maybe you're like, no. Like I find it weird that people can't see that. 4
of the last mass shooters have identified as trans individuals.
But I'm talking, yeah, absolutely.
But in situations like the Riley Gaines situation,
masses, when are they going to start pulling out their 9mm and shooting?
You know, you're seeing cases where people are getting convicted of murder for defending themselves against people like that. So that doesn't help. That doesn't exactly deter it. It feels like hyenas, like one coming in at a time just to test you. And eventually
it's super scary. It's super scary because that's where it is going. I'm just going to say it. I'll pin the fucking tail on the donkey. It's going to be shells. It's going to be gunfire. It's going to be blood on the streets. That's where this ends. There's no other way. They either sit down and shut up or there's blood on the streets.
I don't disagree with you. I think that is the direction that we're headed. But my thought is, how do we prevent that from happening? Like, how do we go back to a point where maybe you just leave the fucking kids alone? Like, we stop that.
That's the worst thing, because I think a conversation is the only solution, and I don't think a conversation is possible.
So we see that, right?
Yeah.
We see that. So now you're raising your kids different, right, than these kids? Yeah. So am I. Eric, so is Eric. So there's a few other guys I know, Coach. I know a lot of dads. They're raising their kids different. Okay? But we have this gap right here. We're very fortunate in the fact that this gap isn't breeding, and I don't think they know how.
You don't see teenagers walking down
when they do breed, they get to get their abortion card, and boom, there's a point, and then they could get 2 or 3 of those stacked up on top of their alphabet and then their hair color.
Now you're a proven team member.
So let me tell you something. We have a gap that we're gonna have to fill somehow, but then right behind them, I think this generation alpha is going to be a little bit different, which is very fortunate for our kids because they're going to grow up and be so much better than everybody else. It's going to be easy to win because a Republican's going to get into office and he's going to unleash the economy. He's going to rip the little top off. Hopefully that's about when Riley and Reagan are about 19, 20, 23, 24, maybe somewhere it starts to catch up there and they can go win because everybody else they hang out with are still screaming about their victim card.
There are so many of these low IQ people going to the polls now, though.
Yeah.
Like almost all of them.
Yeah, but but here's what's going to happen. The violence is going to escalate. And what they don't understand is their opposition. They're going to be shell shocked if we have to fight.
They underestimate it for sure. It's funny.
They don't have a clue what us old men are like.
I keep seeing all of these posts of, you don't understand. You've pissed Gen Z off. We're the best generation, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like,
guys,
welcome to Gen X.
Most of you haven't even fallen off of your bike.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
You haven't met Gen X yet.
Real quick, over on Rumble, Elio is on there. He said this generation lacks common sense because they don't know what real oppression is. I proposed an exchange program with Cuba, Venezuela, and China so they can get a real taste of it. Heck, yes, I agree 100%.
Hey, if
Cuba's beautiful this time of year.
Doing anything, tell them to hop on.
Yeah, Elio, if you want to come on, one of you will have to send him the link. I don't have his.
Chris does. Producer Chris has the Rolodex.
I don't know how to. How do I invite people on this one? It's not giving me a option to do that.
Here, hang on. I'll copy this and put it in our chat.
Yeah, I bet Cuba's beautiful.
Just direct message it to Elio on Twitter, huh?
I bet Cuba's beautiful this time of year. Probably is most of the year. I don't know. Do they have the reverse summer and winter like South America does? Or is it not? No, it's close to Florida. They have regular winter and summer.
Ooh,
This is the
maybe.
level of intelligence you
So
people have here. You
So
guys,
yeah, that's a real scary part about these protesters is I've seen it's been about I don't know what 10 years. It's very clear. It was name calling that really worked, man. They were good at it too. And then
dude, when
one
they
day,
first started calling people racist, that was fucking effective.
one day they tried to do that to Dave
Yeah.
Chappelle. And then it kind of blew back in their face. And then they tried it on Joe Rogan. They got a little too big for their britches. So now that doesn't work anymore. Like people have learned, okay, so if I just don't react to it, it doesn't matter.
Dude,
And it works. And that's true. So now the screaming and it's starting to be hints of violence. There's, I mean, a couple of mass shootings that weren't hints of violence, but I mean, for the masses, like the Riley Green, like they punched her a couple times. They're getting really aggressive with their voices. And
because there are no consequences.
They're on top of the police officers, and the police officers are doing nothing.
They've probably been told to do nothing.
Yeah, no, and that's the coast. They couldn't get away with that in Hartford, Wisconsin.
No. So what Eric just said
ain't having that shit.
Touched on something that I think is like really important here, right? The cops have been told not to do anything, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's the same with like Portland. The cops were told not to do anything. They were just told to stand there and take it. Do you guys remember when they were pulling down all the statues and stuff? Yeah. I'll never forget that scene where they're protecting the Freeman statue, where Frederick Douglass had given his speech to commemorate like the freeing of the slaves.
Mm-hmm.
I'll never forget all of those police surrounding that statue and them launching frozen water bottles at them and hitting them in the head and all that shit, just told to stand there and take it. And so that touches on where the pinpoint the problem is, right? The problem is in the leadership catering to these people. And at what point
being afraid of them.
Yes.
Bowing to them at every turn.
Yeah, in every aspect. What was his name? The mayor of Portland. I want to say Tim maybe, but I can't remember. Do you guys remember he was walking through the crowd as they're like being belligerent and burning that police station?
Yeah, they turned on him even.
Wheeler was his last name, I think. Ted Wheeler, is that his name? Okay. So he's like there, like, I support you, whatever. And they're like screaming him down. They're like saying, fuck you, we hate you, you're a piece of shit. And it's like, at what point do the people who are standing against this start like holding these people's feet to the fire? Like, go to your politicians' offices. They have houses that other people show up at with no problem. Why are we not showing up there? Protect our businesses, protect our families, start doing your fucking job for everyone, not just for a select.
Stop hiding under your desk from a bunch of pissed off college kids.
Listen, MB, don't tell him he's right, because you're just going to make his head get bigger. So
no, that's just common sense shit.
He's got an adjustable hat on. It's fine.
Yeah. I do have a Shouse in the house adjustable hat, so it goes pretty big.
Nice. Representing.
Yeah.
What else happened this week? Oh, I love it. Look at that.
So I'm watching the Mets, like the 86 Mets. There was a 30 for 30, a 4-part documentary. Hernandez, Doc Gooden, Darryl Strawberry. This is back in the 80s. So I'm kicked back here last night watching it on my computer monitor. Listen, there was some racism in the 80s, right?
Yep.
If I recall, yeah.
Yeah, Darryl Strawberry talked a little bit about it, especially the miners in the South. But New York was in one of its very worst crime. Like, it was horrible.
The crack 80s.
And all they fucking talked about that on the media. Then all of a sudden, Keith Hernandez came to town. And then Darryl Strawberry, Doc Gooden, all these guys, and they started winning baseball games, and the media started covering only the Mets, right? And it was like a revival in New York. And everybody that was interviewed in that documentary was like, race, everything went out the window. And the only thing changed was the media. the media just started covering the Mets and just making it like it's glorious, it's magical.
Yeah.
It's Mets magic.
Right.
So then they're panning the crowd for during the playoff games and the World Series, and it's every single aspect of the melting pot of America was in that stadium in New York and Shea Stadium, and I mean every shade, everybody, from guys with had cut off booty shorts in the 80s and muscle shirts next to dudes with ties and suits and briefcases, high-fiving and hugging. Black, white, Mexican, Chinese, all of them. And I was like, this is what DEI has done to us. That is impossible today because we have absolutely divided the shit out of ourselves and celebrated our differences and our similarities, as Eric said last week. But I was kicked back here. I got a little teary-eyed. No bullshit. I was like, that is the America that I remember.
Yep.
The national anthem, everybody's singing at the end. You know what I'm saying?
I still cry when I hear the national anthem every fucking time I'm at a game.
Nobody else
like I'm at my daughter's gymnastics meet.
I have
tears coming down my face.
Hartford basketball games.
Every time I hear that song, I think of Francis Scott Key sitting on that boat, and I think of him like in the afterlife, wondering if that flag is still up there.
Right.
And it gets me right in the America.
Like there are people who don't. I'm sorry, this is completely tangential to what you were just talking about, but like there are people who don't understand that story, like what that. Like he was captured. He's sitting there. He's watching them be bombarded, and it's. After every single thing, they want that flag gone, and it still remained. Like it's just amazing. Oh, I lost Eric. Elio joined us.
Elio's here.
Elio, E-man. What up, bro?
We were just talking about the eternal question that keeps us vigilant as Americans.
What is that question? Go ahead. I was logging in, so I missed.
Does that Star-Spangled Banner still wave over the land of the free and the land of the brave? As of today, yes, but I'm getting concerned.
Mm-hmm. So am I. But I think it's going to be like, Chris, I heard you say about blood in the streets. It's going to be some unitization around here and some division. And as a matter of fact, we might have some states that are going to separate. I think that's where we see this going if we do not get this straight.
We got to get it straight. Yeah, no, you're right. There is going to be a separation because there's some clear fucking lines. And these, there's some militants going on.
The good thing is, at least where I'm at, right? My union, the way I foresee the future, right? We have all the fucking guns. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
we're probably going to win, and they're going to have a hard time. We got an ocean close by and a port, so great for trading. You know, we got Tennessee on one side, Georgia on the other. You know, we have Alabama. Texas. I'm telling you, bro, I am not moving. You know, it's like
they ain't getting through Alabama.
I mean, this Brooklyn kid let that ship a long time ago, man. That's been down here now for like 19 years. Now more than ever, I'm never leaving where I'm at. So that's where
you know
we're
what's funny though, Elio? I saw a map the other day that was pretty alarming, and it was showing the movement that's taking place across the country, and the amount of movement of blue moving into like Florida and stuff like that. Like it's a lot. Like there have been a lot of people, and I'm like, when you make that move, like you're sitting there talking about how horrible, Ron DeSantis is and how he's a tyrant and all of this, but then you move to his state because you like the tax breaks, you like the sun, the sand, the clean, like you like the schools.
You like the fact that public servants are doing their jobs.
Yeah. They love the freedom because liberals are hypocrites. That's the bottom line. Not trying to insult anybody, but I am in a
you can insult anybody.
But the problem is that here's the thing, and like I don't mind, it's more growth for the state, more tax, more everything is great, right? More tourism, but vote the right way. Vote the way that you actually want to live, and that's why you moved down here because you couldn't do it up there. So I'm hoping that is not a lot of blue influential. I'm thinking it's all the few, conservative, middle of the road, because I don't think you're gonna have like true Republicans or conservatives in New York City. You might have some middle of the road guys. that just kind of go wherever the best case is pleaded. I'm hoping is those people that have more common sense and not, the ones that fucked New York up, and then they tried now to come down here and do the same thing because they got tired over there. But anyway, they're gonna get offended by what Ron DeSantis is doing, which I think he's doing a bang up job.
He's doing an amazing job of Florida, and he won by like 44 points.
It was like over 1.5 million votes more, I think, by any governor race ever. It was crazy.
That many liberals ain't moving to Florida,
dude. He lost. What's scary is that he won by 32,000 votes against a dude that if it would have gone elected during COVID, he would have shut the state down. And I mean, this guy was found with God, I hate to. I don't want to sound like everybody with some transvestites, ODing in a party in Miami. You know what I'm saying? Like, hammered, all that kind of crap. So it's like, that's the kind of like governor we were gonna have, right? So we would have been in deep shit. And look, I think everybody learned from that. There was like, oh no, this guy just kept us through.
That was close.
Yeah, it was like that was real. And then
did everybody in Florida fill out a near miss form?
Yeah, I mean, it was bad. And again, COVID was like the wide opener. Everybody was like, no. He didn't close the state down. He did what he was supposed to do. He did it the right way. He followed the science. So
the actual science.
Yep,
Yeah,
the actual science.
Not Rachel Maddow's fucking.
No, not CNN science or Dr. Fauci science.
There have to be Democrats, like the middle of the road Democrat, the people who are a Democrat, like I'm a Republican, which is, pretty much basically, but not, hardcore. They have to be flipping there have to be more and more of them coming to their senses like, wow, this isn't going to work at all. It hasn't been working.
You say that, but okay, so let's toss in the fact that earlier
logic
this week,
would state
Donald Trump was indicted on 34 felony counts on Monday or Tuesday, whatever day it was. That was this week, right?
That was Wednesday, I think.
Yeah, the news flies so fast and I read it so much I forget which day things happen. But so that happened this week, right? But he's still doubling down. He's like, I'm fucking running. I'm going to run for president of the United States. Now, Ron DeSantis still has not announced formally that he's running. He does have a PAC that's raising money for a presidential run. So I think that it's going to happen. He also released the book, How to Make America Florida. So
that's normally what happens.
Right. Like he's got the lead up, but I don't know if he's going to announce for 2024 or if he's going to hold for 2028.
There might not
I'll be honest with
a
you.
2028, man.
I'll be honest. I think Trump, the only way Trump is not gonna get the nomination if he goes to like whatever, he has to break he has to go to jail. He has to get indicted, which is not gonna happen. That case is bullshit. It's a misdemeanor, statute of limitations, a whole bunch of crap that you've heard already, which is actually true. And this guy has the best lawyers in the world. So let's throw that out the window. He's gonna run. He's going to get the actual nomination. He's going to be the man. I would love for Ron DeSantis to run in 2028 because we're going to need another Republican to take the ball 4 years after one gets nominated this time around. Because it's going to take
100%.
They effed up this so bad that it's going to take 12 freaking years to get this boat straight again. That's
Elio, is this Jimmy Carter? And then we're going to run into Reagan and then Bush.
I hope that's what we need to. We need to. I mean, but on steroids, right? You know what I mean? That's why.
We need to like become Quakers at this point.
Exactly.
Mormons.
And Donald Trump as much. And look, I always say the same thing, right? I rather deal with an asshole than a hypocrite because at least I know the asshole is coming right in front of me. Is going to tell me how it is. Then the hypocrite is going to say, "Hey, man, I'm here for you, buddy," and then stab me in the back.
Hey, I don't want a loving motherfucker dealing with fucking the world, man. You got to be an asshole. It's an asshole fucking world out there. And what up, Tripster over on Getter? How you doing, brother? Happy Easter.
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter, everybody. He has risen.
Tripster.
What? No, I mean, do you think if Trump gets reelected, does this country even survive that? I mean, the other side would go absolutely bananas.
They are.
I think he means if Trump gets elected again for a second time.
They would absolutely lose their shit completely, and they'd feel justified in doing whatever.
That's all right.
Because this really, I think this is their, if I could go back and kill Hitler moment. They feel like they're in history right now, and they need to do what's right.
I'll tell you what, Thomas Jefferson, didn't he give us the permission to water the trees with tyrants' blood? That might be what happens.
So I want to tap on something real fast, though, that Elio kind of alluded to, is this independent voter, or Eric, maybe you're the one that said that, this this voter that's just kind of teetering,
Mhm.
they're not exactly hardcore on one side or the other, that voter will not turn out for Donald Trump.
No.
And I'm terrified that if he is our nominee and they run Joe Biden again, we'll have the exact same situation that we have right now.
Honestly, you know what? Here's the thing. Because I've met a couple of people that are independent, right? That actually work with me, all vote dividing. And out of the 6, 4 of them are like, no, you know what? I have to vote Republican. And they voted against Trump because they did not disagree with the job he did in the office in
Just
regards
him.
to the economy. It's just, you
Just
cannot
him.
have a president
There's
like that.
so
People were
much
butthurt.
peer
People were
pressure
butthurt.
to hate
Exactly.
him.
So,
Yeah.
and I think some people are gonna
Cringe.
flip. I think some people are gonna flip. And a perfect example, y'all know Myra Flores, right? The one who actually got the incumbent, got that seat in the runoff after the other person got taken out. First Republican in 50 years in that particular section in Texas. She said it best, right? And I'm looking at it from the standpoint of the Latino vote. He goes, we didn't leave the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party left us.
Yeah.
Because they've gone so left, right? And this is where I'm going about the middle of the road one. I think, and that includes the Latino vote big time. And again, I don't speak for every Latino in the world. I could speak for myself and most of my relatives and stuff like that. But I think we're going to see a bigger even turnout, which Trump got a huge portion of the Latino vote this last time, more than I think any other sitting president. And I think it's going to be even more this time around because the people that are here legally who escape all this crap from their country, like Venezuela, Cuba, even Mexico, who's the biggest Latino population here, they understand that they left South America for all the drug issues that are pumping into this country right now. They left the way, they escaped all the MS-13 gangs and violence and stuff like that. That is happening here right now due to the very, very weak policies in the border and protection. Probably vote Republican from the Latino standpoint because a lot of things are happening that they left their country for. You know, that journey that they made through the border and finally got in here legally or whatever. Now they're seeing that, oh crap, now we got the same gangs and the fentanyl and the drugs and shit that we fought to get here for. It's in my backyard.
Absolutely.
Hey, let me put my tinfoil hat on real quick.
Best sound effects on the internet,
So
ladies and gentlemen.
I'll tell you this. I think that they're going to get Trump to the general, and that's their intention. Because I feel like
who's they?
The Democrats.
Okay.
The progressive George Soros PACs, the DNC. Let's just call it that. All right. So I feel like they're running out of playbook here. All right. I really feel like they were going to ride that internet censorship deal for a while. And I didn't think they foresaw Elon Musk sticking his foot in there. And I really think that fucked their plans up. Honestly.
Yeah.
So I think now they are scrambling because they know that they do not have 51% of the country's approval. They just don't.
You couldn't possibly.
Yeah.
No, it's like it's like 36% approval rate. But you can't. So you're going to have a hard fucking time getting 51% of the country to love you. The only way they can do it is cheat. And that's to get Trump to the general and then him up right before the election on the Georgia shit. Or on some classified shit, because guess who ain't else in the general? Biden. And they can arrest them both.
Well, that's Central American, Eastern Bloc, like third world country shit.
That's why I played X-Files.
Absolutely.
I played X-Files. I did say tinfoil hat. But I'm just saying, they're running out of playbook here, and I really feel like they were going to milk that internet deal for a while, and then Elon said no. And I don't give a fuck what his intentions were or are.
Yeah.
Like I said, I tell my kids all the time, I don't give a fuck if you want to do the dishes. I'm just saying do the fucking dishes. I don't care what gets it done. Cuss me in your brain the whole time. Just get them done.
Just motivate yourself.
So Elon might have some jacked up, I don't know.
Look, more theory to that
fucking broke
conspiracy.
That shit.
More to that conspiracy theory. I think what Trump needs to finally do is release the dirt he has on individuals, right? But after he gets a nomination, because this is going to stop a lot of this targeting, right? As
soon as he gets to the general, Elio, that judge is going to slap a fucking gag order on him. I guarantee it. That's all they have.
Yeah.
But the only thing they can do with a gag order is tell him he can't talk about his case. They
And
can't gag him for everything.
But I mean, crap, man. They're scared shitless of him because he has shit on everybody.
They can tie a lot to that case in the media and then lock him up. I'm telling you, it could get real serious. Maybe
I see what you're saying. They could utilize the media to kind of float out.
I'm just telling you that they are running out of playbook. And I think we can all look at this and go, this is going to get straight up banana like it already isn't.
Oh, it already is, man. This past week,
the pimple popped.
Yeah, that's it. You are never coming back from this. All right, from a nation, from a standpoint of a nation. All right,
all presidents are going to get arrested now when they're out of office.
Yeah, the liberals just whipped it out and pissed all over the Constitution.
Just like they did with they did with the fucking Supreme Court filibuster. Just fucked him right in the ass, didn't it?
Trump versus Biden in the MMA cage to settle it. It won't matter anyways. The fact Biden is president shows the people have no voice. They just put in who they want. Random Rick, I could not disagree. I could not agree with you more.
We agree with you, Random Rick.
100% I agree with you.
Really
go ahead.
If Trump wins, do we win? I don't fucking know.
No.
But I know that it's leaning more towards a populist movement, and a populist movement is where we need to go.
Yeah.
Just not the wrong one. Not the wrong one,
because it could happen. Look, Democrats have won the popular vote the last 3 elections, man. So I'm not a fan of the
populist policies.
Yeah.
So I want to touch on that real fast. So also this week, OPEC announced that they're cutting back production again. So this happened in November of last year.
Mm-hmm.
And it took the Biden administration completely off guard. Like they did not expect it. They didn't see it coming. And it just happened again where they're like, oh, we're going to cut production again. And I don't know that the Biden administration was aware of that. I don't think that they were. But in doing so, here's my thing. So you have BRICS making their movements. You have the oil production organizations. They're starting to cut back production. And that's only going to hurt the United States. We're the largest consumer, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I were president, which I don't think a woman should be president, so I'm just saying that. If I were president, the very next day, even the very next moment, my next appearance in front of a fucking microphone would have been, we're reopening the Keystone Pipeline, ladies and gentlemen. In addition to that, we are releasing all leases to produce all the oil and gas that we possibly can. Fuck you, OPEC. And then I would turn around and I would start producing, and I would bring the United States back to the largest producer in the world.
I would even release everybody from their HOAs. And on top of that, if you're fucking under 16, you don't need a goddamn permit to sell your lemonade in my fucking driveway. Come on, sister. Set your damn deal up and sell away.
Yep. Go right ahead.
Top to bottom.
I think
regulations gone.
That was a strategic move against the United States. We have to be honest with ourselves and understand that there's a room where the people in charge of the world who make things happen are talking about what's going to happen, and we're not in that room. We're not.
We're not electing them either. No. Those aren't elected people. That's the fucking problem.
No.
Yeah.
Nobody representing us is there.
Nope.
So Rick said real fast, I'm not voting again until I can just text in my vote as many times as I want. So 2028. Rick, really funny. So I just a shameless plug for myself for one moment. So I have a podcast apart from Patriots and Petticoats called Shouse in the House. And I did an episode with a company called Redo Voting. You cannot find that episode on YouTube because they took it down. But please go check that episode out on Spotify or iTunes. It is a company that could change this entire country, which means no one's talking about it. And it's very hush.
Oh, that's like Tesla.
It's like the water-powered car. Yep.
Hey, real quick, though, over on Getter, let me give some shout-outs to the Tripster. Trip said he's enjoying the stream, and I told him it was every Sunday. Sports Grumblings is in the house. Evening, brother. What about Trump demagoguing DeSantis? How does that play out if he continues? Or does he make peace because it's not a given DeSantis has to and doesn't have to support Trump? he can just bide his time until 2028 and not lift a finger. What do you guys think about that?
I think this thing's a smoldering pile of ash in 2028 if a Republican doesn't get in office.
And that's I agree with. I think he's doing this. If you notice, right, Trump is bashing him, and DeSantis is taking the high road. Right, he even said, "I'm not even gonna."
Smart.
Really quiet.
He's really good, dude.
He's a politician. At the end of the day, he's a smart politician.
He sounds presidential. His family looks presidential. His kids look presidential. It's all right.
Nope, he's short. Can't elect him. He's too short.
I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not a fan of politicians because to me, all politicians are out to get themselves. Just always, they didn't make it as obvious as they're doing it now, right? Now, DeSantis is a very smart politician because, again, at the end of the day, he also understands the business side of it and the policy making, and he understands what his voters want out of him. So that's where the smart politician come into play. At the end of the day, he's still going to do. That's why he's doing this, and he's able not to get into the back and forth with Trump because he is a politician. Trump is not. Trump is a billionaire, and I love the guy to death, but he's a billionaire asshole who I got all the money in the world, and I'm going to do whatever the hell I'm going to do. Which again, the country needs that right now anyway. But I think honestly, that's why I think DeSantis is laying the ground. If he doesn't announce this year, and he's not very successful, 2028, man, that's going to be the year that, because like you said, the country's going to be so messed up if there's another Democrat in office that he's going to get like a landslide win.
Guys, 6 months into Joe Biden's presidency, I was sitting there like, holy fuck, we have 3.5 more years of it. Like, it's such a long time.
Chris and I have been having conversations like that, like periodically too. Like it's like dog years.
We still have almost 2 years left of Joe Biden.
Mm-hmm.
And
how?
Like, that's what I just conceptually just sit here and think about what has happened. We have 2 more years of this.
Yep.
They're pushing so much shit through. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like I was, like Chris and I were talking like, well, I mean, there's a lot of buffers. How much power does the president really have? I mean, how much can they really how much damage can one guy do in one term? A lot. When you have
when they completely forget all the checks and balances and they just give all authority over to the executive, a lot can fucking happen in a very
But they had it all. It was like a dictatorship. That's what it felt like. That they did a lot in 2 years, man.
He's not even
they
really
shoved
in
it
charge.
right in our ass.
It's like the house where you could smoke weed and drink. Like you go there, there's a parent there, but the kid is in charge. And you can do whatever you want in that house, and that's what's happening.
Yeah, he unfortunately he owes so many people and so much money. That's the reason why he's not going to open the pipeline, the Keystone Pipeline, because his son is getting paid, his family's getting paid. There's so much money being thrown around here that he's made in the last since she was the vice president. So.
That's not true. Yeah, that's a Russian conspiracy.
Listen, there's not a Russian.
Russia.
We need that as one of our sound effects.
Yeah, Russia. That's what he do. Get the Trump voice saying Russia. That's how he says it.
Like the girl on Brady Bunch, where she's like Marsha. We should get one that says Russia.
I mean,
you should do that, and I'll stick it.
I'll do the sound effect for us and put it in there.
Oh God! And I'm so tired of seeing money just being given away,
to
Ukraine,
last week.
and then it's getting crazy. This is like. Oh man, the bleeding hasn't stopped. It's like every time you bleed and you try to stop it a little bit, they open up another cut. So it's
and so that's the thing, right? So the purse strings are controlled by the House of Representatives, or they're supposed to be, but the amount of money that's being shelled out to Ukraine from the executive, it's just like, oh, we're calling it in the name of and then a huge fucking portion of that was our own coffers. Like we're saying, okay, we're going to continue to deplete our own reserves for Ukraine.
That's money I got up at 3 a.m. and went to work for.
Yeah.
Dude, it's money I put 55 hours a week for.
Those babies that you will never even meet paid for that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, my kids. It's crazy.
It's wild.
It's nuts. The other thing that I wanted to touch on, hold on real quick. I'm missing
China encircled Taiwan.
Rick said they always put the other party in office when it gets too hot.
That's absolutely right.
Wolverines. Listen.
Yeah.
Rick, don't Fed post on your stream taken down.
I fell for it.
Fucking Wolverines raising our guns up in the air. Oh man,
Great movie, by the way. Remember that?
Yeah.
The original
Yeah,
one. The
it is
original
a
one.
great
The original
movie.
one. The original
Yep.
one, not the remake. Remake was alright, but the original one was still
I
classic.
never saw the remake. I only saw the first one.
Yeah, it was alright, but the remake, you don't want to see the remake. I mean, it's one of those things you watch when you're like trying to fall asleep one late night. You know.
Hey,
uh,
Sports Grumblings, thanks for watching, man.
Oh yeah, he's getting involved. You love to
like
see
this guy.
it.
Like this
They
guy.
had
man.
they had a red dawn in Taiwan this morning. There's a bunch of boats just offshore, I believe.
Okay, so let's talk about that real quick. So Tsai, I can't remember her whole name, but so she comes over to talk to McCarthy, and China's like, nope, she's not a head of state. Fuck you guys, you're in really big trouble. And they decide to do war games around Taiwan. They completely surrounded the island, and pretty big show of force. They're like, we're gonna do 3 days of this. And I saw some of like the footage of their ships and stuff that they sent over. I like so here's the thing. Are we really going to put ourselves in a position where we're fighting two superpowers?
Fucking looks like it.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
We can't
with
do it. We don't have
1%, 1% of America that could join the military are fighting force right now. 1% could physically walk into MEPS and jump into boot camp right now.
I don't
1%.
I don't think we even have the bullets or the missiles or the Humvee.
We don't have the ammunition. We don't have the tanks. We don't have.
How about we don't have the men?
We don't have the men.
Yeah.
We have a bunch of that was the gap that I was talking about earlier. That gap right now is our fighting force.
Is it
everybody knows it.
Is it possible that we could play China in Fortnite for world domination?
I'm gonna tell you what
beat them.
Let me tell you what's even scarier. Hey guys, let me tell you what's even scarier. All right, the microchips, the microprocessors, all that crap that we have in our keys, all that shit comes from China. They could shut us down,
China,
and they gotta take us over technologically.
A lot of it's to Taiwan.
But China has a lot of control over it. We buy all that crap from them. I mean, all these companies.
I will say, so Elio, you brought the point up. There is one part of this. We've been really strong against China in the chip manufacturing world because there is a tool, the tools that they need to create these chips and processors come from countries like Norway, the United States. I think the Netherlands is another country. And we have managed to ice China completely out of being able to access those tools. So right now, they're incredibly hamstrung as far as production is concerned. But the cudgel is Taiwan, where the manufacturing takes place.
Where they're all surrounded them right now playing war games.
Right.
Yep. Look at all the stuff in your house.
Taiwan is incredibly vital as far as chip manufacturing. What China does have control over is the EVs. The electric vehicle batteries are produced in China.
Batteries. All the precious metals.
So as the United States is saying, okay, we're going to just emissions, we're not going to let you buy gas cars anymore in 10 years. Then China says, okay, fuck you. We won't sell you the batteries you need to power the cars that you're the only ones you're allowing your people to buy. So there's a lot of those things at play. Real quick, Rick says, luckily, we are still in America where even with all of this mess that the media pushes our day-to-days have not changed drastically, unless you go grocery shopping for children. Where was Space Force when I joined back in the day? I would have joined that. Space Force actually does seem kind of cool. They did a parody show about it.
It's good.
No bullshit. One of my favorite shows ever. Where's it at? Did they cancel it?
They canceled it.
Steve Carell? What? With Steve Carell?
2 seasons.
Yeah.
2 seasons only.
2 seasons.
I thought
it was
great.
such a good show.
I didn't watch a lot of
such a good
season
show.
2 now that I think about it. I didn't know there was a second season.
Yeah. No, it was because they didn't give a lot of advertising or kind of like putting that out there. A second season was coming, as usually do some of their shows. But yeah, I didn't get through the second season.
It was really funny.
I was at the grocery store, and I was listening to these 3 guys talk, and they were talking about like, what if we go to war with Russia and China? And 2 of them were like, well, we're so elite blah, blah, blah. And I'm listening to these guys, and they were like, well, they're drastically underestimating the number of recruits that they actually had. And I'm like, really? It seems like something we would do. Let's just underestimate that and then have 700 congressional meetings. He's like, we're the strongest military right now than we've ever been.
No.
And immediately I thought this, right? I mean, this popped in my head right here.
But say what you want about America, land of the free, home of the brave. We got some dumbass motherfuckers floating around this country. Dumbass motherfuckers, you know?
Yeah, we don't have a big stick anymore.
Now, obviously, that doesn't include this audience. I understand that.
So if this is the thought process, it goes back to what we've been talking about for 2 episodes. Everybody thinks somebody else is going to get it.
Right.
Like, it just happens. It's like the toothpaste on your.
We got a guy for that.
Only if you're married does an empty toothpaste container change to a full toothpaste container overnight by a fairy, right?
Via magic.
We have a whole generation of fucking kids running around that think that somebody else is, or that there's some mythical creature out there that fights.
And any
like,
hammer,
no, motherfucker, you have to go do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus.
But they
no.
also, hold on. I want to touch on that. I'm going to go to these comments real quick. MB says we may not last 2 years, and if Trump or Ron aren't elected in 2022, we're toast.
I agree with her completely.
Totally.
Think about what we've gone through already in 2 years. Can you imagine 6 more like this? It's Mad Max.
Yeah.
Rick said, yeah, grocery shopping isn't bombs dropping on us, etc. But inflation is a bitch, of course. You know what I mean? Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, it's being squeezed from all sides. And then, you just have a train blow up right where all the food is.
The problem is they're getting really close to, like, what if there's they go all martial law and shit? I mean, this could get really bad. That's what I'm trying to say.
I was reading
they
about
lock down the elections.
Chris, I want to go back to what you just said about the magic fairy and the toothpaste, and these kids think that somebody's gonna come like take care of everything for them.
Yeah, it's just like,
and they don't give credence to the military because they don't think that we should have a military at all, that it should just be open borders, that we should have no sovereignty. It should just be, one with the world and love and all great.
God,
it's like the 60s hippie bullshit. It's really ingratiated itself. But I think one of the problems is they don't really genuinely, and Elliot and I talked about this on our episode together, they don't really understand what oppression and what that world would look like if China came in and took over, or Russia came in and took over, or Venezuela, Cuba team up with Mexico and come in and take over. Like, I don't think that's actually going to happen.
No, it's not going to happen. But the China and Russia together, it's a very, the China and Russia
it's not just China and Russia.
It's a
Saudi,
strong possibility.
It's Iran, they have money. Yeah. Saudi has money. Yep. The BRIC has cash, bro. And they're there. And Biden has made them
fat.
A lot richer.
Fatter.
And I don't think that the average human, like if you just go out on the street, and I told you guys, I've ordered my microphone. One of the segments I'm getting ready to start doing is some like on the street interview type stuff.
Ooh, nice.
For the show. But if you ask the average human being out on the street, what would you do if China took over? Stuff would be cheaper. They'd produce it here. Like they wouldn't, they don't think about what those ramifications would really look like for us. They don't understand.
You know what answer you're going to get?
14-year-old, and I was like, she was like, what would happen, Dad? And I said, I don't know. Maybe you get welded in your apartment while it's on fucking fire. Nobody gives two fucks. And I showed her a YouTube video. She's like, I said, that's what communism.
Maybe there's robots.
That's what it looks like.
Maybe there's actual robots walking the streets, making sure you're.
Did you tell a secret to your friend? Did you create some drama today? Well, you don't get to go buy your lunch tomorrow.
So Heather,
that's the new fucking cryptocurrency the government's doing.
Yeah.
The most popular answer you probably get, Heather, when you ask them, what would you do if China takes over? What do you think it would happen? This generation would probably say, you know what? My iPhone is probably going to drop to $500. instead of 1,000. That's what they're gonna think. They all the money. They think about the shit that. I will tell them, you're not gonna have an iPhone. That's gonna be the difference. All right.
Yeah.
So you dumb bastards.
You're gonna be going back to like landlines and like they just don't get it that they have zero.
Bullshit. You're gonna be slaves. We're gonna be slaves if China takes this. They fucking hate us. Listen to me.
Yep.
That dude,
Gulags,
that Xi Jinping, he is nobody's fucking friend. That is the fucking. You might as well think of him when you see him. He's a fucking devil.
He hates.
That
Think
motherfucker
about, like,
wants
Kim
our blood.
Jong-un's sister coming over here and being in charge of shit.
I mean,
what
have
did
you
we
seen
do?
that bitch? She looks like she would slit somebody's throat.
What
in
happened
a
to their
heartbeat.
father? What happened to their father, Heather?
They killed him.
Yeah.
Who killed him? We were behind that shit.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. These they ain't like us. When they got a vendetta, it's a marathon, baby. They're in the long game.
Oh yeah.
And they're gonna
long
watch
haul.
you suffer because all he's thinking about is you killed my fucking father, and I'm fucking coming for you.
Yep.
How he fucking made it all the way back, who fucking knows? But that is an enemy. That is not an ally. That is not a fucking trade partner. That is we're his bitch or he's our bitch. There is no fucking in between.
No.
And every alpha watching this fucking stream knows what the fuck I'm talking about. That is Putin. That is Jinping. That's why we can't have a little fucking bitch in office, because these motherfuckers will run over him. That's why when Trump shakes fucking Jinping's hand and Putin's hand, he pulls him in. He lets him know, motherfucker, I own you. So you will do what the fuck I say. We're gonna say some nice words here, but you're gonna go back and sit on your fucking hands and shut the fuck up. All right? That is how we've ran America since World War II. And if we do not run America that way, they will run us. That's it. That's the bottom fucking line. So I didn't have that written down, actually, Heather. But I'm just saying that there's no coming back from this, boys and girls.
We will lose World War III for sure.
Freedom, and we're on.
So Rick says, why would, this is a valid question. Why would China kill their cash cow and its overseas conflict versus them just taking surrounding areas with less resistance?
We would sit back and let, them and Russia just split up Europe.
No. That's the reason why I guess all this money is being pumped to Ukraine right now to stop this war. But that's just diversion, because China is doing the real work on the other side right now. That's what we're looking at right now. Yeah. So, go
ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead. And you know why we'll probably do that? Because guess what? Just like any strong acquisition, when you acquire your biggest competitor, you have the revenue, and that's more cash than anything else. It's a matter of number, power, and money. And unfortunately, as from a communism standpoint, the government are the ones that actually run everything in a communism country. That's why they own every single business. And what's going to happen here is that all these companies are going to fucking take their shit and go somewhere else where they could do it from a capitalist environment, because that's what happened in every all the companies that were in a communist country, Venezuela, Cuba, they all bounced. They took their shit, all right, and they went to the United States, and whatever the case may be, and then you just have whatever the government was going to run, which is now shit. I always say the same thing. Equality, it's bullshit. Like they like to point the socialist gun. Oh, but it's never been done right. It's going to have equal equality for everybody. Equality. You know what you guys with socialism, like I mentioned in your show, Heather, is equally shit. We're all going to have equally nothing. All right, and no rights. So fuck that.
And let me give some boys a shout out over on Getter. That chat is getting after it. Hang on, let me
getting on fire.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
These young rebels.
Oh, the trip says good fairies always have come about the toothpaste, and now we're 32 trillion in debt. Well, that's no bullshit. Sports Grumbling says Americans take everything we have for granted and have no clue how other countries live. That's exactly right.
That's very
true.
And
then Trip says Democrats hate us worse than China hates us. And you know what? I would have argued that, but I don't know that's probably true.
Yeah,
it's getting pretty crazy.
China at least sees value in the United States, whereas Democrats don't even see that.
No.
Yes.
They hate it. We got so coked up and got so much done in the 80s that we just we coasted off of that for a long time.
That was good times.
Shit was just good for a while. Like
used to
my
have
fun in
whole
the office.
childhood, the 90s were awesome.
Yeah,
There
90s
was
were good.
basically
really
peace
were.
in the world aside
In
from
the-
desert
in the-
storm.
90s were
In
good.
the 80s, I could jump off my roof onto my pogo ball, and if I popped it, my mom would just get another one. Like everybody had money.
And there was no, like us as kids, I went to concerts, I went to festivals, I went to events all the time. There was no racial animosity. I mean,
Yeah.
there was little pocket groups, but on the whole, there was nobody talked about it or thought it wasn't a topic of conversation. Just
Yeah, it was just kind of
we're
more of
just
a
all
live and
kind
let
of
live
humans trying to get
society.
through this thing.
It's because we played outside, we talked, right? There was no narrative and social media to spend and blow up a lie as quick as
None
you
of
can do now,
this.
right?
Your friends and your
You know.
information are a personalized
Oh,
stream
Wall
given
Street.
to you by a
Mhm.
big tech company.
Exactly.
That's dangerous.
It is very easy to grab a 3-second clip with an app and make it into, I mean, a 3-minute clip and make it into a 5-second clip that says the thing that you want them to think about without looking at the whole thing. And that will just blow up for about 1 million people in a matter of like 10 minutes. So
Yeah.
unfortunately, that's where the country we live in, because it's a double-edged sword when it comes to technology and social media. You know, you want information fast, but it's one thing to be said about the wrong information that has malicious intents behind it. And
The
that's
left is playing this game very
Yep.
aggressively and very well. The tech game, the show up and make noise game. And we've always just been like, they don't show up to the polls. We'll get them on
Who cares?
election day. And that's been true, but it's not anymore. They're showing up. So
The
I don't know.
problem, one of the problem is like you said, we were asleep for a long
Mhm.
time, and we forgot a whole generation. And the left,
Mhm.
like, started with the school board, and they played the long game, and it worked out for them.
What did Lenin
But
say?
now it's going to collapse.
Yeah.
What did Lenin say? Let me teach the children for 4 years, and you'll never uproot the seeds I sow. Something
Yeah.
like that.
Fuck, man. Okay, I'm gonna go to some of these comments real
Yep.
quick.
you got
Nobody
some good
thinks
ones
it's
here.
odd that Ukraine war broke out right after COVID ended. No, none of us think that that's odd.
No.
Chris isn't over there to push
Yeah.
his music, but yes, we're right there with you, Rick.
Yeah, absolutely.
MB says China and Russia will man in the high castle us. Yeah, absolutely. Rick said 1-ply toilet paper for everyone.
Actually,
We're lucky.
Rick,
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you, coming from a communist country, there's no toilet paper. You're wiping your ass with newspaper.
Only
kinda-
the useful idiots will get 1-ply toilet paper for a little bit. And that's what these young leftist revolutionaries don't understand. If you usher in this socialist
Basic.
movement that you want so much, the useful idiots are lined up against the wall.
Hey,
That's
guys,
what happens when power changes hands.
Hey, guys, I got to bounce to another show, but I love you all. Keep it going. You guys are rocking.
It's cheating on us.
What is
I'll be
this
back.
business?
Damn, this guy's like, he's all over the place,
Mr.
man.
Popular.
He's more spread out than
I'm
Biden
sorry,
out
I
there,
had-
bro. Look
I
at
had
him,
an
man.
hour. I apologize. I will fix that for
Disgraceful.
next time. I
No,
love all you
that's all
guys.
right. All right. See you, Chris. Have a good night.
Peace. All right.
Rick said, was it New York was a gang-filled war zone in the 80s
I
and
could attest
90s,
for that.
flipped over to the West Coast with crack cocaine war. We also didn't have internet news 24/7 pushing bullshit. That is 100% correct.
That is.
I could attest to that because I grew up in East New York. I don't know if Rick is from New York or not, but it's one of the worst neighborhoods, one of the worst counties in Brooklyn, one of the worst cities in Brooklyn. And I remember before Giuliani took over, shootouts every other night. You know what I'm saying? You had the crimes you would get, like you see it now, where you go out in Manhattan somewhere, like in a very affluent neighborhood, and getting robbed, like in clear daylight. That was happening. Giuliani took over. He did what any common sense mayor would do. I'm going to put a lot more cops out there, and I'm going to pay them for it. All right. So all of a sudden, you put cops out there, and guess what? All that shit stopped. All of a sudden, you have Times Square. That used to be nothing but drugs, prostitution. Boom, as one of the big centers over there. You got ESPN, Disney putting stores. Everybody and their mother. He revitalized New York City. To me, the best mayor in New York City. After David Dinkins, who was a Democrat, destroyed it and brought it down to the ground, Biden-like, in a matter of 4 years. So that is true. Why? Again, you didn't have this BS. Nobody was getting canceled. He was giving the authority to the police to use their best judgment. And you know what? It worked. I saw it work as a kid. I saw it work through my teenage years. And when I moved in 2004, it was still there. And that's the reason why we're not giving the authority that we need to the police. We're bringing the police down. We're shaming them. We're trying to defund the damn cops. You know what, dude? If you know, that's the problem. That's a fucking problem right now.
Okay, so I'm gonna give you just a little bit of pushback there, Elio. Back in the 90s and 80s, I believe that police were geared and structured in a way that was more for the common good, for the safety of the community, for that. Now, after COVID, the police are nothing but an enforcement arm for the state now. At least that's what I feel like.
Yeah.
I feel like when I watched a woman, and I've said this before multiple times, so I apologize for the repetition, but when I watched a woman sitting at her son's football game outside on the bleachers, spaced well 6 feet apart from anyone else, get dragged down the bleachers and across the field, not the field, but like the track, because she wouldn't put a mask on her face. That's when I started losing respect for police officers. Then I watched a kid get dragged out of a restaurant in New York for not putting his mask on his face, a child with his family. And I watched a surfer be chased down on the beach.
Surfer.
Yeah. Like and so then
I remember that.
None of these were laws. These were not laws. They are law enforcement officers. These were edicts issued by health departments and executive branch. They were not laws. And so you had police officers violating civil liberties and constitutional rights of citizens in the name of the state.
Yeah, but you'd kill grandma if you went surfing.
That's because the standards are so much lower than they were back then. When you
So
saw a
if
cop,
we were to go back to those standards, I would probably become a little bit more supportive again. I used to be like, I'd put the hashtag back the blue. Like, I cheered on police, and I'm still really good friends with like local sheriff, stuff like that. But if it's a city cop or a state trooper, I'm like, fuck you.
I have a lot of family that are in the force down here in South Florida, and I got some friends that I went to school with, and also I worked in New York. We're also in the NYPD, and they're about to get to that 20-point mark and they're dying to get out. Right? It also depends who's backing these people. Right? Who is who is holding them accountable and at the same time backing them up. That's why DeSantis is such a smart individual, because he's offering signing bonuses for out-of-state cops to come and join.
Smart.
All right, because he knows that here we're going to give you what you need, and we're not going to demonize the police, because it is important for the tourists to come here and feel safe.
Yeah.
And when you have the other cities that don't give that support, that's what starts happening. The cops will be like, you know what, F this shit, man. I'm just going to go and do whatever the hell they want me to, because guess what? Nobody's going to grab my back. And then, you know what? Call the cops or Uber, see who comes here first. That's kind of the mentality you're going to have, right? In some of these cities and states. I still believe in the force. I still do, because I came from a place where the police were used by the state and the government. Right. They were in there snitching on you and bringing you out of the house. Nothing that had to do, regular people, kind of like what you saw. But it was, again, I think here it's more of an isolation issue depending where you're coming from, but there's still a way that it could be solved. And again, the standards have been set so low, and it's getting lower and dropping more and more, because people don't want to be cops anymore.
Yep.
Because why would
you?
Why would
you?
If
you put these standards back, I mean, could you even staff police departments?
I think you can. I think you'll have a whole new generation where people, because it was a great living back then. It was risky, but it was a great living. You looked at what you could have in 20 years, right? Retire at I think 80% of your last salary. I mean, come on, man, guys. Nice. You're not gonna get your Social Security, but that kind of stuff. You put standards like that, and you're gonna start. But you gotta, again, you increase the standards, man. It's not easy to get that kind of stuff, And then, of course, number one thing, I think everybody at the end of the day, and one of the most dangerous jobs in the world, is you want to make sure that you think you're going to come in today and go home to see your family, your loved ones, because you have your partner backing you up. There was a camaraderie between all these people, right? Cops used to have each other's back. Now they snitch on each other. So, boom, that's another part. So that's where we have the fail-safe in some of these states and some of these cities. Because again, it happens from department to department, right? Some city, even here in Florida, you got Florida's pretty strong, man. You got some counties here that they don't F around, man. Lee County, and that guy Marion County. I mean, dude, you don't mess around, bro. They counties, more or less BSO. But you got some counties here that I'm telling you, they'll go out there and say, you know what? If you have a gun and the guys come to your house, shoot them until you see holes on them. That kind of, because it is. you know, it's what they tell you, because by the time we get there, most likely you already stopped the person.
You're gone. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the
Whenever
problem.
it's been resolved, one way or another.
The standards need to change. The accountability, and you know, it's just like human nature. You know, you got to give somebody something that
I
they
think
could aim for.
removing qualified immunity would probably go a long way too, where cops will change their behavior towards the citizenry if they're not protected, regardless of the actions that they take. And I don't want to turn this into a whole what can we do about policing?
We could do that some other time. There's a lot of ways.
I figure we're probably going to keep a hard stop at 10 p.m. for putting kids to bed and Eric to be able to go to work tomorrow. But I do want to go to Rick's comment. He said, one of those dang super spreaders. I wear my mask to work because it bothers 2 coworkers extremely. LOL. Rick, I have to ask you,
does it work
today, like currently, right now, are you still wearing a mask to work presently? Like, I want to make sure before I give you 10 kinds of fucking shit, I want to make sure that you're actually still doing it and you didn't mean I wore a mask to work.
Use present tense.
EAR?
That's nuts, man.
Again,
if it was WARE, I'd think maybe typo, but I think that's
yeah, I think that's
just to bother them.
Just to bother them. Went to Dollar Tree, no mask today.
You know, that it really doesn't bother me who's wearing a mask next to me. I mean, but I just look at it, I'll be like, damn, dude, you know how hard hard time I had breathing on the neck shit for like, you know,
my glasses. Like I would put
I hated
my
that too.
mask on, my glasses would fog up so bad. I'm like, fuck this. I'm never wearing one of these again.
They made us wear them in the factory, and it lasted about one day because everybody's safety glasses were fogging up, so it wasn't practical. We just
it
was
couple staple segments of our Patriots and Petticoats show. They hid my contempt for humanity. Oh man, I do have really bad resting bitch face, and it did prevent me from getting in more trouble with people because I just have this like deadpan like stare, and I think it's somewhat off-putting sometimes. So the mask helped me avoid that. But okay,
I don't see that.
Really quick, we have 2 things that we're going to go over. I'm going to throw it over to Eric real fast. One of the things that we wanted to start doing is talking about medications that are currently on the market and approved for use, but the side effects that you would get if you chose to take that drug. So I'm going to let Eric talk about that. And then after that, we'll do 2 truths and a lie to wrap up the show today. Chris has rejoined us. Thank you for realizing that you still love us. Because
I just had to go over and get a show started.
Gotcha.
Take it from there.
Stuff, yeah.
Just producing another show. Sorry.
Eric, go.
Yeah, well, I see these pharmaceutical ads, which, by the way, you know, 99% of nations don't allow this sort of thing. It's completely against the law. Pretty much only in America and a couple other places can you even advertise like this. Like, go ask your doctor. I saw so many of these. I thought, you know what? We're doing a show that's not about sports anymore. I can bring political stuff or world current events type stuff. I'm going to start bringing some of these drugs to the show, and we can just go over what they're for and what the side effects are. This was a very cheery commercial, just a bunch of people having a good time. They were at a fair. It's called Rebelsis. A1C down with Rebelsis. It's a whole song. In a recent study likely conducted by them, this drug significantly lowered A1C cholesterol better than a leading drug, and people taking Rebelsis also happen to lose some weight. So that's a big selling point for them. From what I can tell, A1C is a form of hemoglobin that is chemically linked to sugar. Most monosaccharides, did I say that right?
Yeah.
Including glucose, galactose, and fructose spontaneously bond with hemoglobin when present in the bloodstream. So I guess your blood sugar gets abnormally high.
Yeah.
Normal A1C level is below 5.7. A level of 5.7 to 6.4 indicates prediabetes. With a level of 6.5% or more indicates diabetes. So within 5.7 to 6.4, the higher your A1C, the greater your risk for developing type 2 diabetes. That'll come up later. Okay. So great. This stuff still lowers it. So what are the restrictions or side effects? Well, It's not for people with type 1 diabetes, number one. So don't have diabetes, which you likely do if your A1C is high. Don't take, if you or your family have ever had medullary thyroid cancer, because that's something everyone talks about at the dinner table, or if anyone in your family has had multiple endocrine neoplasia syndrome type 2. And this is where I realized they make it impossible for you to understand. They want you to be confused. They want you to not know what they're talking about and focus on the person going on the Ferris wheel. But wait, we still have 30 seconds of side effects. So half of the ad. Get medical help immediately if you get a lump or swelling in your neck, severe stomach pain, or an allergic reaction, whatever that is. Serious side effects may include, because an instant neck lump is not serious. My mistake. Serious side effect, pancreatitis, gallbladder problems may occur. That sounds like it popped up in a lot of trials. Tell your doctor about vision problems or changes. Taking it with insulin actually increases low blood sugar risk. So that's fun. That has to be it, right? There's more. Your classic nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea that can cause dehydration may worsen kidney problems. It sounds like you may have a decent shot at actually making your problem worse if you take this stuff.
So wait a minute. What was the original thing that it's supposed to help with?
It's supposed to lower your A1C cholesterol.
Cool. So yeah, let me give you my take on that real quick. So Rebel, and I'm looking at their website, and the first thing you see is One Daily Rybelsus is a
Please
prescription
tell me
medicine
there's a Ferris wheel
used
on their website.
along with diet and exercise to improve your blood sugar in adults with type 2 diabetes. I hate to break it to you, but when you have type 2 diabetes, if you eat right and you exercise, that's all you need. You know what I'm saying? And you're not going to be. That's all you got to do. I hate to break. So take that in combination with this. You know, holy shit, man. I mean. Oh, man.
Eric, you're not going to be able to do this segment anymore because the tears stream down my face, and then
we just want to pill for everything.
It's not
we don't want to
coming
go
out of my nose.
Yeah,
it's pretty funny over on Getter too. Those comments.
Oh, great.
Lord.
Oh man, inflammation over pancreas.
Hey, Trip says, how about the penile expansion?
I saw one the other day that they ran through all the side effects, and then at the end they just said these are not all the side effects of whatever it is. I guess go to the website for the full list.
Hey, Sports Grumbling said GOP the last 2 election cycles, not anything the GOP did. Where political leadership is corrupt, those police in those cities are more likely to be corrupt.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's true.
It all depends where.
He also said if you take immunity away from the cops, they just won't show up until after the crime's done.
Which I'm okay with that.
That's a fair point.
Put guns in the hands of citizens. Yeah. Stop taking their right to self-defense away and give them the opportunity to take care of business themselves.
Yeah, and fucking when it's self-defense, God bless. It's self-defense. And start allowing people to start it's natural selection will happen.
Yeah.
Just allow nature to do nature things.
Because the blue states right now, these people don't even know how to fucking shoot a gun because they're afraid of the gun, right? Even though what's going to happen is that, okay, take the guns away. Make it easier for the criminals to get them because they will get the guns and shoot your ass and rob you.
Hey, so Alvin Bragg, there was an old man that went out to his, did you hear about this? Went out to his garage, and that dude was robbing his garage, and he went to stop him, and the dude shot him 4 times, and the old man fucking wrestled that gun away and shot back at the dude.
I didn't
hear.
Alvin
Bragg arrested the old man for 1 illegal,
absolutely. I heard about that.
And 2 attempted murder.
My man,
his property in his garage.
But he ended up dropping the charges against him.
Yeah, that's right. Because the media got a hold of it like Fox News and fucking spread it like wildfire. But listen, what if they didn't?
The only reason that he did it.
What if they didn't? He was going to charge that.
Yep,
that's his intention.
Hey, what about the bodega owner in New York who was defending himself from a robber with a knife? He's going to trial. He's for attempted murder. This guy is in his own
I remember
business.
that guy that hopped the counter.
Yeah, dude, he took, and trust me, I grew up in that environment. I know what a bodega looks like. When you go over that counter, bro, you're gonna get your ass kicked or shot.
That video was all over the place.
In New York.
Yeah,
that's
the man is getting convicted.
Problem.
This is a guy that has no money, man. This guy who
got to get out of those kind of states.
Yeah, I'm so freaking lootly, man. If they don't see that, that's a problem. That is completely. They don't have the best interests of the citizens. They have the best interests of their own agenda. That's practically what it is.
I wish Popcorners would sponsor us so I could talk about them all the time.
Their agenda is to fucking siphon all the money up to them. And they're doing that.
Exactly.
And they're just allowing crime and shit.
It's one of those things.
What's their end game, though?
Chaos.
What's the end game?
I don't know, man.
What's at the end of this?
The ultra rich have so much money that they'll survive anything. This whole thing could crumble and they'll be fine.
Yeah, so I think why would you want to crumble it? I just don't understand that. Then you don't make any more money. So what happens? Soros dies, and then everybody's like, oh, okay, never mind. That's the thing. What is Soros's deal? Does he just want to sow destruction and chaos everywhere? Is that we have shit on so many people in the last 250 years that who fucking knows? It's crazy. And like you were saying, Chris, we have to realize that we're the asshole at the party. Yeah. Like,
we are
the one going around secretly killing leaders and propping up government. Yeah.
Yeah, we're the in my case, I'm a sellout, and you guys are the racists, right? You know what I'm saying? Or and we're the transphobics, right? Because we believe in one thing and the other. So that's the way it is. I mean, it comes to this point that before, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what color, what ethnicity, but if you think a conservative way or a Republican way, and again, I'm a middle of the road kind of guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They think you're a complete. In my case, I'm a sellout, dude. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm a complete sellout because I'm against my people. I'm like, no, fuck you, dude. I just don't like people telling me what the fuck I need to do. You know what I'm saying? Don't tell me how I should be oppressed, because guess what? You're not me, dude. You're whiter than hell than snow, bro. You're living in your old ivory tower. And what the fuck do you know about taking a boat 90 miles and getting over here, bro? You know what I'm saying? Dude, get the hell out of here. So that's the part that pisses me off.
You're Latinx. You need to just be quiet.
Fuck Latinx, man. That's bullshit. Right? That did not come from anybody in South America, Latin America. That was some dude in Washington coming up with that bullshit. And
the Latin American community did not embrace Latin.
No, they have no idea.
Hey, Tripster says the ultra rich formulated this in about 1910 at Jekyll Island.
Oh yeah, that's a great book. If you guys haven't read that, talks about how the Federal Reserve was established. Ooh. It's a really good book.
Yeah,
I like Tripster. Tripster, you should follow me on Twitter if you don't already. We should be friends.
Tripster and Sports Grumblings are a couple of seriously involved dudes. I like it.
Yep, I dig it. Rick, it's been awesome having you here tonight as well.
I wonder what Rick reviews.
Okay, so we're gonna do 2 truths and a lie. Elio, you haven't been here for this one yet. You're welcome to participate. I am going to give 3 headlines and a little bit of a brief summary of those 3 headlines. 2 of them are accurate, real headlines. One of them is fake. Here's my mom hand. Don't fucking cheat to the people in the audience. You are going to guess which story is the lie.
Okay.
And then at the end of the quarter, for our regular participants, where I keep track of it, I write down who guesses what answers correctly. So far, out of 2 episodes, we have only had 2 people guess the correct answer on the first episode. Nobody got it right last time. So
it's gonna be tough to catch up. I have 0 points.
Well, the source of entertainment, man. I'm all over it. I'm about to bomb. But.
All right. So headline number 1: world record broken as man eats 100 hot dogs in under 5 minutes. Summary. In a stunning feat of gastronomic prowess, a man has broken the world record for hot dog eating by consuming 100 hot dogs in just under 5 minutes. The previous record of 74 hot dogs had stood for over a decade, but the new record holder, known only as, quote, the hot dog king, blew past that mark with ease. So that's story number 1. Story number 2.
It's a lot of hot dogs.
Joey didn't get 100. Go ahead.
No.
Story number 2.
Mysterious Banksy type guy.
Dallas journalist fired for calling mayor bruh on Twitter.
Bruh.
A Dallas journalist said her use of the word bruh to address the mayor has left her without a job.
I agree with this. When my daughter calls me bruh, I want to fire her on the spot.
She said she was sacked as Dallas Morning News education reporter after she responded to a February 11th tweet from Mayor Eric Johnson claiming that the local media had, quote, no interest in reporting a drop in violent crime. That is story number 2. Story number 3. A man got sent 580 letters on one day demanding tax payments after 11,000 Chinese companies used his address. Dylan Davies, from Cardiff in Wales started getting the letters from a UK tax authority telling him to pay sales taxes known as VAT in November. He continued to get tax bills for 11,000 companies that had used his address over the following months. 3 stories. Which one is the lie?
I think the first one. I think you can't beat a record by 26 hot dogs. That's insane.
Man, because I mean that's a very
everybody in the chat
business.
participate too.
Yeah.
Because you guys want to get points. You guys come back
in
every
with your
Sunday.
numbers. Story 1, story 2, story 3. Don't cheat and Google it.
Yeah.
11,000 companies.
So for the just for the sake of like being contrarian here, I go with story number 2, the bra.
Okay.
Did she just respond, bro?
I got
Bra. Yeah, bra.
I'm thinking what was number 3, Heather?
Number 3 is the tax. The guy got 580 letters on one
I'm going
day.
number 3.
In Wales or whatever.
Wales
or whatever. Fucking
whales.
I'm going number 3, so one of us will get a point.
Yeah, one of us gonna get a point.
Oh, so you're all picking a different one?
Yeah, I got number 2. I think the bra one. I
got 3.
That'd be the fake one.
All right, so Elio picks bra.
Yeah, bra all day, every day.
That's a
Eric picks. I use bra a lot because it's funny.
No, see, I use bro because I'm from the 90s, right? So I use bro. I don't use bra. I use bro all the time.
Heather, Trip and Sports Grumbling both are on the hot dog story being fake. So can I change my shit?
Solidarity.
Because I would have known if Joey Chestnut lost that record. Like we would talk about that.
He was just in Milwaukee. He put down 14 and a half burritos in 10 minutes.
No, real burritos though. Not
Qdoba burritos.
Qdoba, full guac, rice, all of it.
All the shit. Yeah.
I'm switching to number
burritos.
1.
I'll read you the rest of the hot dog story. Spectators at the event were amazed as the hot dog king.
Did you write it? Is this the one you wrote?
Down hot dog after hot dog, dipping each one in water to make them easier to swallow. The achievement has been hailed as a triumph of the human spirit, as well as a testament to the power of processed meat products. The Hot Dog King has already announced plans to defend his title next year, and some experts predict that the record could eventually be pushed even higher.
What, at Nathan's? The Nathan's hot dog competition this summer?
Nope.
He's not going to go to that? He's not Joey Chestnut, right?
No, this is a mysterious.
I'm going number 1.
Dude. This is a mysterious Banksy type character.
Yeah,
have you heard of him? Hang on, have you heard of him? Eric?
I've never heard of the Hot Dog King. I've heard of the Sausage King of Chicago.
Yeah, me too. I heard of the
that's
Sausage
different.
King. Yeah, this guy's name is Joey Big Nut. You know,
one is fake, Heather. And if you wrote that was
really good.
Really
like you
good
wrote a whole article.
I'll stick. I'm going to lose, but I'll stick with number 2.
Post that on Patriots Sports Radio.
The hot dog one is the fake story. That was mine.
That's great writing. That was great writing.
Yeah, why aren't you writing stuff for our website?
You made hot dogs sound awesome.
I had some hot dogs today.
So both Tripster
Plural.
and Sports Grumbling both got it right.
Tripster and Sports Grumbling. If you guys continue to participate and you get more correct answers without cheating, then in a quarter we're gonna do a drawing for a prize. We haven't decided what that prize is yet, but we're working on some things.
I will tell you that Heather's Shouse in the House is sponsored by Palmetto Armory, so could be good.
I have. So it's very exciting. So I've been doing Shouse in the House for almost 3 years now, and I just got my first brand partnership with my dream company, which is Palmetto State Armory. So it's very possible that in about 2.5 months, our first prize could be something from such a wonderful company that is partnering with me.
We do want to give away some AR-15s.
Yeah.
Hit the subscribe button on Rumble. That's where we'll be doing. So everybody come over to Rumble and really get in there. That's where we'll be doing a lot of our promotion stuff through Rumble. But so we definitely we're gonna hook it up.
We're a bit controversial for YouTube.
No, you can't show guns on YouTube.
Like
no, they don't like guns.
You can't give away a constitutional.
You can't. can't show a piece, bro. That's not it's against their policy. You can't.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I pulled my 12 gauge out a minute ago.
And we should clarify, we're not going to be shipping a firearm to a random person. We're going to be sending it to an intermediary, correct?
We'll be working directly through FFLs for this. Everything will be above board and legal.
It's all above board. ATF.
All super legit.
Is not allowed.
No Fed posting with our prizes.
Nope.
All right. I am going to call it a night. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me tonight. It has been an absolute pleasure. Elio, thank you for coming on very short notice. I hope to have you on here a lot, actually. I think that you have an really incredible, valuable take to add to the conversation. So thank you for that.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it. Crashing the party. Thank you.
No, it was great. Chris, Eric, love you guys. You guys have a wonderful evening. To all of our listeners, thank you so much. We do this every Sunday night. We will be here at 7:30 Central Time, 8:30 Eastern Time every Sunday. Patriots and Petticoats.
Hit us up on Twitter. Let us know what you guys want to talk about next week, and we're all about it.
Yeah, everyone's Twitter handles are in the show description. You guys, if there's some topics you guys want to know what our thoughts are on that, let us know on Twitter. Elio, go ahead and plug yourself real fast because you're not in the show description. So tell everybody who you are and where they can find you.
Let's do a quick shameless plug. Best way to find me is Joe_talk on Twitter. Click the link in the bio and you'll be able to find all my platforms, YouTube and everything else where you can hear me and my podcast. And just follow me on Twitter if you want to just know what the hell what's going on with me.
He's pretty fabulous. We also just did a podcast episode together. He's remarkable. Love him.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate
it.
No. All right, you guys take care. Have a good night.
Take care.
You too.